My name is Mike Lee. I'm from Melbourne, Florida, and I went to the University of Florida for mechanical engineering. I live in Hermosa Beach, California, and I'm a propulsion engineer at SpaceX, a private rocket company sending resupply to the space station. I scuba dive, I paddleboard, I surf, and I snowboard. So one night, I was talking to some friends at work about an upcoming trip they had planned to Mammoth Lakes, going up there for the weekend and snowboarding and skiing. So we got up that morning, we went out to the mountain, did about 6 or 7 warm-up runs, went through a little terrain park by the main lodge. My friends who were in front of me had gone behind one of the orange fence baffles, and someone had also knocked it over. So I decided that I was going to ride over it to get to them rather than cut all the way over and back. And in doing that, I caught the nose of my board and flipped over the nose, going about 10 miles an hour straight into the ground. So I tried to catch myself and didn't catch myself in time with my arm. And by doing that, I separated my shoulder and my elbow went actually into my torso, and I impaled myself with my own elbow. So I wasn't feeling great, but none of us really realized how serious it was. I let my friends go back up on the mountain and went into the lodge to rest. I didn't feel great. I continued to not be able to catch my breath. I thought it was due to the altitude. I went downstairs to ski patrol and told them what had happened. They gave me some oxygen to catch my breath. They told me that I may have cracked some ribs and should go to the Mammoth Hospital. So they showed up and I was ready to walk right into the ambulance, but when I got up I started feeling a little woozy and had to be helped into the stretcher. So they immediately gave me an IV to get fluids back into my body and carted me off to Mammoth Hospital. So they took me in for x-rays to look for broken ribs. They didn't find any, but I also went in for some other scans. I was introduced to Dr. Frew, who came in and explained to me the severity of the situation. I had ruptured my spleen and was internally bleeding out, and this was a life-threatening injury if I didn't go into emergency surgery.
Hi, my name is Dr. Frew Bahirai. I'm a general surgeon at Mammoth Hospital. When I first met Mike, he was bleeding heavily internally. My priority was to get him to the operating room as fast as possible. As his blood pressure was dropping and he was turning ghost white, I made a phone call to his parents, discussed the situation, and they agreed that we should go to the operating room immediately. In surgery, we were challenged with a difficult operation and difficult anatomy. He had lost more than half of his blood volume, and we ultimately had to transfuse him more than 10 liters of fluid and blood. The operation was thankfully ultimately successful, and he was transferred to the intensive care unit. His parents traveled across the country to be there that afternoon.
So after surgery, the next couple days were pretty foggy. I don't remember a whole lot because of the painkillers. I was in the ICU for a total of 4 days. So when my parents showed up, I was working with a physical therapist who were trying to get me out of bed and walking around the hospital. After a few days there, I was discharged to a regular room where I continued physical therapy, and then finally was discharged from the hospital after 6 days.
Since he's been discharged from the hospital, Mike and I have become great friends. I also communicate regularly with his mom and dad. During his recovery, I learned that Mike and I share a lot of common interests. I learned that he works for one of my favorite companies, SpaceX. He's a brilliant rocket engineer, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to take a tour of the facility. I feel truly blessed to be part of Mammoth Hospital and this amazing team. From the emergency department to the operating room staff to the physical therapists, it took all of their effort to ensure Mike's recovery.
So now a year later, I'm fully recovered, back to snowboarding, paddleboarding, surfing, and lobster diving. 4 months after my injury, my brother got married, and I was able to be his best man at his wedding. I wouldn't have had that chance if not for everyone at Mammoth Hospital that cared for me. Dr. Frew, the nursing staff, physical therapists, and everyone else that helped out. So thanks, Mammoth Hospital, for everything that you've done for me, for saving my life, giving me another chance, and allowing me to be here to experience everything.